Yo, what's poppin'? It's Tommathan, and I'm here to review London Season 5. And you know what? This is a damn good season compared to what everyone believed. They finished 6th in NA in the regular season with a 14-10 record, plus 9 map differential, and 16 points, only missing the first tournament. After that, they were locked in. They were tapped in. I had them at 11th in NA in my preseason power rankings, only above New York and Houston, because I really did not believe in Piggy Solo Tank, but they sorted that one out, so all good there. And I also didn't believe in last year on the main support, but he did pretty well for himself, so not bad. But yeah, London, way better. Unless you were number one London Spitfire fan by here, hashtag Spitfire sweep, you were not rating them this high. It just wasn't happening. The roster of Sparker, Shax, Backbone as your DPS, tanks as Hottie and Poco, and supports of Admiral, Landon, and Khan, who came in late in, or like mid-August, I guess. And then you got the coaching staff of Coach of the Year, Christopher, Assistant Coach Commander X. Spilo was there as well until he had to be let go to bring in Khan because the budget got to come from somewhere. But he's off doing all pretty good content right now. So go check out Spilo's content. It's pretty good. Low key pretty good. And then you have Nuki as the manager. So the biggest question mark with this team was pretty much you're bringing back Hottie. That was the big thing. Hottie, Shax, and Sparker all returned from Season 4, and Hottie really did not look that good in Season 4. Did poor even. Looked bad, you could say. And everyone was like, you know what the fuck's going on? Why is he back? He doesn't deserve the second chance. He gets it, and he absolutely shows his worth. He wins Dennis Hawelka. He becomes a role star. What more do you want from him? What more do you want? And then in terms of bringing back Sparker and Shax, Sparker was a rookie in Season 4, but he wasn't able to play till the very end, so he didn't really get to show all his worth. But this season, he came in absolutely clutch. He was better than I thought he would be right from the get-go on the kickoff clash. Well, maybe not from the get-go, but at the end of the kickoff clash there on the Soldier, he was doing really good stuff with the flanks, and his timing was very important. Mechanically, is he the best hit scan player? I'm going to say no. Mechanically, he's not. But I think his timing and his synergy with the squad was really good and propelled him to be one of the best, I would say, Sojourn's hit scan players in the league this season. Shax didn't play much, so it is what it is. Then you get, Backbone coming in on the May and all that stuff. May is definitely his big one. His Reaper was quite good in the playoffs as well, but more of those kind of guys. Whenever it came to the Summer Showdown, his Genji, I found it to be a little bit lacking. And that's just how it goes. But for what his characters were, his May, unmatched. Just unmatched. His right clicks on May were fantastic. Everything was great with his May. Best May in the league. Easily. Not even close. Poco doesn't get to play that much. He plays a little bit. They look all right with Poco win on the Sigma and things like that, but he does what he has to do, and now he's retired. Then you get Admiral Landon. I really like Landon. I think he's a little bit underrated. I thought his BAP was really good. I thought his Zen was really good. And even if you look statistically, you're like, well, his BAP's not that good. But he's playing it in such a different scenario than everyone else did with the Rush comp that the stats aren't really comparable. You're comparing apples to oranges, right? This is an apple-to-apple conversation, and Landon's an orange. You know what I mean? It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. And Khan didn't get to play that much because he played him for the double flex stuff, but he was brought in after double flex was really good in the midseason madness, so it's like, what are you going to do? Admiral, I would like to say that I maybe think Admiral's a little overrated. I personally thought he was a little bit out of position at times. I found him getting picked off first a bit more than I'd like from my Lucio, but satisfactory. He's not bringing the roster down most of the time, I would say. But yeah, and then of course, the coaching staff was top-notch, absolutely top-notch. So looking at the actual stages as we go through here, kickoff clash, they had a really tough schedule. This is an extremely tough schedule. Look at their losses. Shock, Houston, Gladiators. All those teams went 4-2 or better. In case of Shock, they went 6-0. And then your wins, Vancouver, Boston, and then Atlanta was a pretty big win that made people actually kind of believe in the Rush comp. It wasn't like sold. You had to sell it still, but they looked really good. Atlanta thought they could mirror the Rush. It was not happening. It wasn't happening. Gator got sat the fuck down. Straight up. And they were upset, and it started the rivalry between London and Atlanta, where London would win their next two, and then Atlanta would take the Summer Showdown one, but whatever. You win on the Rush comp, the Mickey Mouse cheese comp, as Atlanta said. I think that's a big part. So after this first stage, they were on the up and up. It was quite easy to tell that, there is good potential here. maybe you iron out the kinks a little bit because they were talking at the beginning here in interviews. Christopher said, you know what, they decided to stick with their guns with the rush comp, but there were times where they were considering just abandoning it because it's a harder comp to pull off. It wasn't as easy as playing the Zarya, playing the Winston, the Doomfist, whatever it was. But they found a way. They found a way, and they said, you know what, we're gonna play to our strengths. We're gonna fuck shit up, and here we are. Midseason Madness comes through, 5-1, straight up 5-1. And you can say, well, the schedule's easier. Yeah, but that's why they weren't in the kickoff class because they had a harder schedule in the first one. That's how it works. You beat Florida, Toronto, New York, Paris, Washington, lose to Dallas. It is what it is. They're Dallas. Dallas wasn't actually that good here, so I guess that could be a bit of a question mark. I don't particularly remember that game too much. No, I just don't. But I think they played some Hottie Winston on that one more than the Ryan. Don't quote me on it. Maybe. But then they come to the midseason madness. They beat Atlanta. They call it a day. They lose the shock because of the shock. And then they get reverse swept by Florida. And they do it again next stage as well. But they just didn't. It seemed like Florida had the mentality to come back down. And they changed how their entire game was. And London weren't able to handle the, aggression or the change of pace, the change of the team. They came out like a brand new team, and London just didn't cope with it, And you think, you know what? It happens. It happens. One time, that's fine. I'll give them the pass on the one time. The second time, I will not give them the pass. Summer Showdown comes around. They tried to run stuff at the very beginning. It does not work. They ditch that. They come in with the Junker Queen, and Hottie's pretty good at the Queen. I'd say Hottie's maybe not top 5. I don't think I had him in my top 5 when I made it. I think I put someone in over him because someone's that guy. But Hottie's Queen was pretty good. Maybe it was top 5. It's debatable. It's somewhere around there. It was quite good, but I do, again, have problems with Backbone on the Genji. I thought that Genji was such an important part of this composition that having a lacking Genji, it makes things a lot harder. It makes things a lot harder. But the backline was solid. Everything else was solid. And they end up beating Toronto, who came third, then losing to Dallas, and again getting reverse swept by Florida. Straight up. I don't know how you do it again. I don't know. It does not make any sense to me. You can't afford this. That 2-3 in both of those ways to go out is like, nah, man. You just can't have that. That's got to be illegal. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. I don't know if the mentalities are. They seem like such a good mental team, And they should have been in high spirits because they beat Toronto, right? And they just had to counter to Toronto's playstyle. I don't know. They knew how to play into the Ashe very well with how they would run it down faster than Hisu could really control the tempo with the Dynamite. And as a Toronto fan there, I was like, oh, I fucking hope we don't get London. They just know. They just know something. They just know something. And after the game on that Toronto one, we were walking out and they started chirping us. They were like, who won today? Like the actual London players. That was mint. That was absolutely mint. But yeah, so they should have been in high spirits and they just fucking lose to Florida again. I don't know. I can't explain it. It's unexplainable. It's unexplainable. Nobody can know. Because if they beat Florida there, perhaps they beat Toronto again because they seem to have their number. That was twice in a row, back to back. They beat Toronto. You telling me they can't do it a third time within a few days? Like they definitely could. You beat Toronto, and suddenly London end up placing third in that tournament. Right? Like, it's that simple. I don't know what the fuck happened there. You could have had a third place finish. I don't know. I just don't know. Then kickoff or Countdown Cup comes along. You get Conan practically, but he doesn't make too much of an impact in this stage. It is what it is. You lose to the top 3 teams in the league. You beat everyone else because you have a really easy. Well, you have a tough schedule in terms of matches to win to lose. It's like 3-3, but they were going to win those 3. They were going to lose those 3. They almost beat Shock, I guess, towards the end, but Shock didn't give a fuck because nobody cared about that game. Then playoffs comes through. Hottie on the Winston. It's a pretty good composition for them, I would say, overall, because you get Backbone on more of a baseline Reaper character. He can fuck shit up, do his thing. I don't want to say, like, you get him on a not mechanical character, but it's like Backbone it feels like a very good fundamental player. Like, you get the positioning with the Mei, you get the positioning with the Reaper, you fuck shit up. It's fundamental, But if you put him more on the Genji where he has to make the crazy clutch plays, I just haven't seen it from him. I just haven't. I don't know what other characters would fall in that. Maybe his Sombra? I don't know. he kind of dabbled in the Sombra a little bit. He dabbled in the Widowmaker in the Countdown Cup stage. I just kind of fucked around. Sparker was sat out for like Widow and some weird shit that they were running. They were having a good time, which is all you need. I'm trying to figure out another character I would attribute to Backbone, but really his Reaper and his May just kind of was it. Whatever. But the Widowmaker was fun too. I guess I'm kind of undeservingly flaming him, but it's like when it mattered, when it came down to it, it's whatever. So yeah, playoff comes through. You beat Philly. You beat the Glads because the Glads had no fucking clue what they were doing. I just don't know what that was from the Glads. They could not figure out what to do with the Reaper character. They had no idea. And then you lose to Houston quite handedly. You lose to Spark also quite handedly. And it just is what it is. I don't know. 5th, 6th is pretty good in playoffs still. By no means is that bad. You're almost top 4. Almost. Could have been close. But you run up against a Hangzhou Spark and Shy. It's like, what are you gonna do? What's going on there? What are you gonna do? Beating Houston that easily is a bit of a surprise to me, though. I don't know, or not beating Houston, getting beaten by Houston that easily. Houston just had it together. They just had it. I don't know. They just had it. So overall for the season, I'd say pretty successful. With what you have, with the budget you have, and the tools you have to really go far, no one's expecting London to compete at the very top with the budget they have. They don't have the star power. They don't have the star power. Sparker was star power on this roster. To me, I know Hottie, Roll Star, everything for this roster. Sparker was the MVP of this roster for me, and he's not re-signed right now. We don't know where he's going right now. It's just Backbone, Hottie, Admiral Landon, I believe. I don't think I'm missing anyone. The leaks are lethal, but Sparker, I haven't heard anything about where Sparker's going, and it's a big concern for me. If you don't have Sparker on this roster, I don't think they perform nearly as well, and I'm worried for them next season. I'm quite worried. But anyway, looking at the team usage, it's not going to be a surprise here of what you have more than others. You get a lot more Lucio because they're run and rush. You get a lot of Soj because they don't want anything other than Soj whenever they're playing rush, whenever they're playing Joker Queen comp, anything like that. You just want Sparker on the Soj. That's what it is. And then look at that. The drop-off from Lucio Soj to Brig is crazy. You get 30% of Rhine, which is significantly higher than everyone else with 3.5. How much of that 3.5% do you think is London? Probably over half, right? Like, surely. I don't know if I could hover. Maybe I'll check after. But, like, it's got to be a lot. You get a lot more BAP, again, with the Rhine comp. The Winston, they played a little bit of ball in there, about average. The Sigma is below average. But the big stuff here is, like, you don't get any Doomfist. You don't get any Zarya. And that's where the Rhine eats it up. You know, that's where the Reinhardt gets so much more. Because you see 15% Zarya, 10% Doomfist. That goes to the Reinhardt. And it kind of calls it a day. But you still, you know, it's not like Hottie Winston was poor. He was still trucking along with that there. And all that stuff. Where's their May? I want to look at their May's at 27 compared to the average of, where is May? 4. Like, they have to be at over half the May time too. They're just that team. And it's really fun to have teams like that are willing to break the meta, and I hope they go for it again next season. I believe their plan is the Hottie solo tank, and I don't know how comfortable I feel on Hottie Zarya, any of that stuff. He really didn't play it. 1.4%, and that was Poco, I would guess. So those off tanks, a big question mark for London. Will they have to do something similar again? I think so. Will they have Sparker? I don't know. I hope so. I don't think Sparker will perform as well as he did now on any other team. I think it mutually benefits both of them, even if Sparker maybe takes a bit of a pay cut. Unless he goes off to play with the Glads or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, that's going to be it for me. Hold up. Look at this. Sparker did so much more damage in second. What the fuck? Look at that guy. Backbone being way down here is a little concerning. But it is what it is. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Have yourself a good one. Like this video, all that stuff. And deuces.